what a lamentable... I remember the days when Laplace's garden lived up to its estimable purpose. Now look at it. The fountain in disrepair, pedagogy in the park, even the lights above our heads have winked out like stars taken down from the sky. Nevertheless, one must persist. The plan is good. The shadow of ignorance cannot withstand its light. Oh, I couldn't say. This isn't my college, as it were. I'm a vicar. I tend to people's philosophical needs and leave the management of the garden to others. Oh, no? What a tremendous disappointment. Perhaps in time you will acquire the necessary skills and return. Or someone else will come along, as is the way of things.
without also entertaining the immediate contemplation of probability. Our application depends to varying degrees of certainty.
A second makeup exam will knock thee off, so I hope you studied this time, Briar. You may begin now.
Right. No pressure.
I can tell we have little crossover of interests.
Shh! If I'm caught talking during this makeup exam, oh, what does it matter? Can't mark the occipital from the parietal with these voided questions. And is there something wrong with the air recyclers? It's getting hard to breathe. Oh, good. Just me then. Can't believe my future in the Order will be decided by an understanding of the vaporescent properties of trinitrotoluenes. I don't even like bitrotoluenes. My vision's gone a bit fuzzy, but the exam's right here on the monitor. Have a look. You asked! I'm already perspiring beyond acceptable odor levels, thank you. I'm sure I'd recover my wits enough to tackle the rest of the test if you can just help me make sense of the first question. Just be discreet, won't you? My vision's gone a bit fuzzy, but the exam's right here on the monitor. Have a look. I'm sure I'd recover my wits enough to tackle the rest of the test if you can...
If you need to discharge any sputum, I ask you kindly aim such accretions away from my general direction. Thank you. Oh, just passing time by calculating high probability diametrics within an error margin of 0.05. I'm waiting for the results of a rather exciting prediction, you see. Sometime last year, I predetermined an occasion of momentous import would happen today, right here, at these very coordinates. None taken. Oh, but now I've forgotten to introduce myself properly, haven't I? Leslie Beckett, Oracle Laureate, Seer Supreme, leader of the Department of Predictive Analysis, and not terribly good at informal introductions, evidently. Forgive me if I don't shake hands. I prefer to keep my skin microbiome free of exogenetic cells. You understand. But now, if I'm not mistaken, you must be the agent we've been expecting. I knew loitering at this location would yield results. I don't suppose you've stumbled upon any of our excogitation chapels around Cloister by chance? Excogitation chapels are order residencies where one can meditate in solitude on specific theorems relating to the plan. They're scattered all around Cloister, Prior to the war, such focused study led to all manner of breakthroughs, with audio logs routinely kept by the scientician in residence. In these unprecedented times, such logs could harbor hidden wisdom. However, with the war on, I've sadly been unable to get my hands on the last of these recordings. All confidential, I'm afraid. Many are still under peer review, but I can assure you, their value is commensurate with, why, the discovery of gravity, or has the potential to be. Oh no, I couldn't possibly ask you to endanger yourself by seeking out these logs. Cloister is rather treacherous, and some of the chapels are difficult to reach by design. However, if you happened upon these chapels and recovered these logs, I would most certainly be interested in their contents. By my reckoning, the amount of logs to be collected is 4. You have that? 4. No more, no less. Each chapel should have at least one somewhere inside. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. How do you know about that? I mean, that is quite the allegation. I deny it effusively. First, answer me this. What is your interest in this matter? As much as I relish the idea of entrusting a stranger with sensitive and potentially incendiary information, I shall have to decline further comment. Perhaps if you were to help me out with recovering those logs I asked for, I could be more amenable to sharing knowledge, but let's put a pin in that for now, shall we? If there's nothing else, I would like to return to my deep breathing exercises. Don't we all? Nothing beyond what I already included in my 165-page summary of the incident. Why do you ask? Of course I do. That is precisely why my energy is better channeled toward the future, to ensure such tragic events never happen again. Landon Wiley was afflicted by that which strickens all scholars, the desire to effect change, to advance the plan at any cost. Were his methods wrong? Unequivocally. Should he have come to me with his concerns? Undeniably. But was his conclusion categorically sound? That remains debatable. Generally, yes. Although it's important to remember that unexpected outcomes can still arise from failed experiments. But let's move on to other topics, please. All this fractious talk is giving me a stomachache and... oh, I just got rid of the last one. Oh, the garden is a marvel, isn't it? A prime example of how this colony could function if led by science and rationality instead of fear and oppression. Everything within the garden was meticulously selected by a committee of the Order's best archivists to provide for mental clarity and focus. My word, you should have seen the debates over the shrubbery. I've never witnessed such passionate discourse over foliage of all things. And what a history it is. The Order of the Ascendant, along with the Archive, has been headquartered on this moon since the founding of the colony. It was given to us by the matriarch herself. She understood how vital our contributions would be to Arcadian society, which some have forgotten. It is why we're here, in fact. Cloister has two things in abundance: ice and geothermal power. Both made it the ideal location for the Archive, and we've utilized its vast computational power ever since. Indeed. It's been a favorite bone fought over by the dogs of war, but I have every confidence it will end up back under Order control sometime in the next year. You're 7. What other stray inquiries occupy your mind? Impossible, I'm afraid. The Protectorate is rather well entrenched at present, and nothing short of an all-out siege is likely to dislodge them. If you're determined, I recommend consulting with the presiding bishop on the matter. She can tell you more.
For pity's sake, is it the pump? Or the industrial science is mostly theory, they said. You won't have to put your knowledge into practice for years, they said. Now the fountain's broken and I can't. Useless. I'm useless. We had an avalanche recently, not far from the dome. One of these fountains stopped working around the same time. Stands to reason something must have been jostled loose. I recently placed into the industrial sciences, so I've been entrusted to fix the issue. But I've never had to put my knowledge into application before. It's not going well. You must be an agent of the architect. The panel here controls the intake and outtake for the fountains. I'd start there. Oh, praise the architect. I hear water running. Come see, it's beautiful. I'd provide compensation, but isn't the garden's beautification a reward in and of itself? Feel that reduction in annoyance? That's some quality. Feel that reduction in annoyance? That's some quality verbally. Feel that reduction in annoyance? That's. That's some quality verbally.
Can't talk. Calculating an inverse complex sine function in my head.
I have too much on my mind for idle numerical chit-chat.
Agent, over here. Ah, there you are. I was informed by Gertie you've agreed to help us reconvene negotiations. With your aid, Auntie's Choice and the Order will soon be rivals no longer. Just think of all we can accomplish if our two sides reject fractiousness and combine our efforts. Remember, seek out ways to help both sides. Engender trust. Gertie and I will let you know when it's time to move forward. In the meantime, I might recommend you work on honing your oratory skills. Our presiding bishop and Auntie Cleo can be challenging to debate with.
Your admittance to the Chamber of Conflict Evaluation and Strategic Planning may come at a later date, as determined by the Office of the Oracle Laureate.
A visitor? It's for the best that you're talking to me now instead of mid-work. I do seem to have a slight propensity for stabbing randomly with my tools when interrupted, but I suppose that's enough time spinning in the statements column. Speak away. What are you... Beckett. Another prediction that he hasn't seen fit to notify me about. A more cynical exemplar might posit his doing this to be intentional. If you're here, I imagine you aim to petition the presiding bishop for her support, which is hardly a surprise. She is the most important individual in Arcadia. Not if I cannot gauge for certain if you can be trusted. I cannot allow just anyone to wander into Ruth's quarters. But there is something you could do to prove yourself worthy. A myriad of cultists have taken over the settlement of Newton, which is a nearby site of historical but not strategic significance. I want them gone. Once there was a bridge stretching from the settlement to the archive, but it was destroyed by a rift. Best keep your distance should you travel there. From what I understand, Vicar Levin's continued existence is a mere side effect of whatever personal vendetta you happen to be attending to. I'm pleased he does not lie among the ranks of the dead, but I will need a more tangible effort on your part to trust you. I'll withhold my appreciation until this task is complete. May you act within the equation's confines.
We should collect Azza from the ship first. Unless you don't want the benefits of her inside knowledge of the cult.
Hello, stranger. Mercenary. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Any undue rage you note in my tone is not at all related to the recent coup in my beloved protectorate. I do so dearly love residing in a nest of traitors, waiting for them to capitulate, unable to aid my fellows at home. It is truly a wonderful feeling. I cannot leave. My sovereign-given task is to bring the Order back into the Protectorate fold. But now it seems as if I must also bring the Protectorate into its own fold. One deed at a time, Philo. Hate is an inaccurate phrase. I find them arrogant and exasperating. Without the Protectorate, this little organization would have no holdings to squat in. I am here because the Sovereign has tasked me with bringing these wayward, pretentious toddlers back into the Protectorate fold. Unfortunately, my time here has taught me that only mass death has the power to change the local hearts and minds. Perhaps enough will be alive to save afterwards. I am not just anyone. The duty of a liaison is of the utmost importance, requiring due diligence and delicacy. Though I suppose it a mite strange that this task fell to me, as I'd urge the vehement tanning of any wayward body bent on disrespecting the Protectorate, which would now include the Protectorate at large. Madness, slandering my beloved sovereign, following that feckless consul, makes my blood boil. I fear it is not so simple. Though many within the Protectorate still trusted their leaders, a growing minority had begun to question their sovereign. They argued the losses we've suffered would not have happened if he could truly lead, that his father would not have allowed this to happen. Pah! Anyone who didn't side with the sovereign will pay, sooner or later. You may count on it. I've proudly served the Protectorate my whole life. Now look at it. Traitors from without, traitors from within. It's enough to make an old man despair. That consul, I never trusted that miserable bastard. His betrayal is so galling, I'd almost care to join the armed forces to bring him to justice myself. But my hands quaver with age, and the Sovereign has tasked me with my own duty. I must see it to completion before all else. Listen, you. The Protectorate does not do delegation. The Protectorate has a will that must be upheld. My presence here is a display of more faith than these fools deserve. Niceties are irrelevant, and likely detrimental to the task at hand. I am here to make the Order see the error of their ways. All other particulates are frivolous.
Security personnel are permitted in this booth. Leave. Please. Lift access is currently restricted. Keep moving. At this time, residents of the Texas Garden are not permitted beyond this point.
I always find I work best when undistracted. Now, how might we be of use to one another? I scarcely take time to engage in idle conversation, but perhaps this will be illuminating in some fashion. Who told you about that? Were there an experiment being conducted here involving any kind of medicament? Confirming its existence with the theoretical existence or non-existence of Order experiments are strictly within the Order's purview. It doesn't concern you. You are giving me cranial neuralgia. If you really want to bother someone about this, bother Beckett. Maybe he'll predict your arrival. Specifically, a phlogistinated firearm, capable of tunneling through reinforced armor. Broadly, weaponry, research, anything capable of giving our exemplars an edge. Great. I was just thinking, I'd love for a stranger to come along and patronize me so I could blindly hand them experimental order technology. I have nothing but respect for Ruth. Without her guidance, the order... If I had to dig for the smallest critique, I'd note that she shoulders too much. If she collapses, I generally prefer to keep discussions relevant.
No admittance without the Artificer Laureate's permission.
Let's pinpoint what you and I can accomplish for the Order.